Hey, how you guys doing out there today? This is Stephanie Menez from the RotoBeast team, and I'm here to present you our NBA picks for Tuesday, October 24th. As always, if you want to watch our full video, please go subscribe to our YouTube channel at RotoBeast. And if you want to play the actual lineups that we're playing, please visit our website at www.rotobeast.net. Alright, so before we jump into it, I'm going to kind of give you, I've been thinking about it, I'm trying to figure it out. I think on these nightly videos, I'm going to do kind of a game stacks that you can go with, and then I'll go with the individual teams to kind of target from the best to the least, but still pretty good in the bottom. And then I'll go with my top 5 or 6 picks at each position. And when I'm doing my picks, I definitely recommend you writing them down. This way you can kind of use them as your player pool. It'll help you eliminate, some of the extra players. And kind of focus on these 5, 6 players at each position to help you build your best lineups every night. So let's kind of jump into it. We'll start with the top games. The top one's going to be the Nets at the Magic. This game has a massive total with 228.5 points expected to be scored. This game is going to be a very up-tempo, fast-paced game, so this is probably for sure going to be the top fantasy game-wise. We're looking for fantasy points. You're going to hear me talk about pace a lot. But in NBA, pace is very important, okay? I'm going to give you a perfect example. James Harden tonight, he averages 55, 60 fantasy points a night. Tonight, he was going against the Memphis Grizzlies, who are a very slow-paced team. And so I wasn't on James Harden at all tonight, but he was 60% owned in all my cash games, and I couldn't understand it. And sure enough, on his 11.3 salary on Fanduel, he only got 35 points. So it was a massive dud for him, and for the 60% of people that played him, it was a massive dud for them, and it really helped me out because I cashed in all my entries without him. So yeah, so pace is really, really important in basketball, okay? So just remember that. Okay, so the first game was the Nets versus the Magic. They had the 228.5 over and under, massive over and under, so you got to really love this game. The next game I really like that I'm going to be targeting is going to be the Pelicans at Blazers. This game has a 221.5 implied total, which is the second highest on the slate, so I really like this game. And the last game that I'm really, really liking is the Pacers at Timberwolves. They have the third highest implied total at the 217 over and under. I think all 3 of these games are going to be really fast-paced, and there's going to be a lot of fantasy points scored in these games, and they're the games I'm going to mainly focus on. So we'll jump into the teams. I think the top team to look at for today is going to be the Orlando Magic playing against the Brooklyn Nets. It's the same story this year as it was last year. The Nets suck. We're only a couple games in the season. They're already looking like they're tanking this year. They play zero defense. Every team that they've played so far has put a massive points on them. So I really like the Orlando Magic tomorrow. They have the highest implied total on the slate of 116.3 points they're projected to score. They're a -4 favorite, so this game is projected to stay kind of close. And then another thing, like we said, we talk about pace. This is a 10.4% bump in the Magic for the Magics in this game. The pace, that compared to the pace that they usually play, it's a massive, massive bump for them. So I really like the Magics tomorrow. Next, we'll talk about the Timberwolves versus the Indiana Pacers. They have 114 implied total. They're a massive favorite at a negative 11. So the only thing is we want to make sure that this game isn't going to be a blowout because we want our guys to play all 4 quarters. But I don't think this game is going to be a blowout. Timberwolves are not a team that really blow people out. So I do like the Timberwolves. And this is a pace bump for them as well at 3.5% pace bump. So the game's going to be sped up for them a little bit. The next team we'll talk about is the Blazers versus New Orleans. The Blazers have 113 implied total. They're 4.5 favorites. And, they get a 1% pace bump. So it's not, too much of a pace bump for the Blazers in this game. But still a pace bump. It's still going to be a fast-paced game, and that's what we're looking for. Next, we'll talk about the Nets versus the Orlando Magic. I know the Nets are horrible, and I was just saying about how horrible they are, but the Magics they're not much better. And the Nets, they're projected to keep this game close, and they're gonna score some points tomorrow. And I think there's gonna be a lot of fantasy points in this game. The Nets have a 112.3 implied total, which is the fourth highest. They have they have a higher implied total than the Cavaliers, than the Celtics, the Pelicans. So you got to look at the Nets. Even the problem with them is their rotation is just so everywhere. You don't know who's gonna play, or maybe you kind of know who's gonna play, but you don't know how much they're gonna play. This is a perfect example. The other day, I really liked Sean Kilpatrick. A lot of people were talking about him, and I was like, all right, cool. He was very, very cheap. We use him as a cheap play so I can fit in these other studs. And the guy didn't even get a chance to play. He did not play. It kind of crushed me on Sunday. But NFL went off on Sunday, so it made up for it. So it was all right. It was a mistake that I made, but it was a learning lesson. And so the Nets are a team you really got to kind of pay attention to because you don't know, how their rotation is going to work out. But somebody's going to score. That's the thing about it. So you got to kind of just keep an eye on it, see what they're saying, and kind of go from there. But the Nets, they also get a pace bump at a 4% pace bump. And, so this game is just going to be up and down both ways. And I really like this game in general. The next team we'll talk about is the Cavs. They're going against the Chicago Bulls, who have just been horrible this year. The Cavs are expected to score 111.3 points. They're a massive favorite at a negative 10 favorite. But the only thing I don't like is going against the Chicago Bulls. This is actually a pace down game for the Cavaliers at a 2.5% pace down. So the game is projected to be a little bit slower than normally what the Cavs play. So that could kind of take away a shot or two, from the guys. And, we want as many shots as possible. Next, we'll talk about the Celtics going against the New York Knicks. The Celtics, they're a team. They're a good team, but ever since they lost Gordon Hayward and in the opener, I feel like they've been a little bit flat. But they are a good team. I do like them, and I expect them to beat the New York Knicks tomorrow. They have 109 implied total. The thing about it is, though, playing against the Knicks, the Celtics are also getting a pace down a game at 2.2% pace down. So it's going to be a little bit slower pace than what they usually play. And the last team I'm going to look at is the Pelicans going against the Portland Trailblazers. I think this game is going to be close, and I think it's going to be back and forth. Pelicans have 108.5 implied point total. Thing about it is this game is a little bit of a pace down game for them as well at a 1.5% pace down. The reason I saved the last three are just because they're a pace down game, so they're going to be slower than usual that the teams play. So there could be a couple less shots for them, a couple less shots for our guys, and we want as many shots as our guys can get in on our fantasy team. But hey, all these teams that I talked about are really good teams to target. I wouldn't really go outside of these teams. So that's kind of where I'm at team-wise. So let's just jump into the picks real quick. If you haven't already, get yourself a pen and paper. Write these guys down. Kind of use them as your player pool and see what you could come up with, okay? So we'll start at point guard. If what's his name? If Alfred Payton, the point guard for the Magics, is out again tomorrow, then DJ Augustine becomes a really, really good value play. So I really like DJ Augustine at point guard. Next, I would go with Jeff Teague. He looks very good. Damian Lillard. D'Angelo Russell for the Nets. This guy's been getting his minutes, and he's been really, really good. I'm a Lakers fan, so it's bittersweet for me playing D'Angelo Russell, but he's in a great spot tomorrow, and I really like him. And then you got Kyrie Irving, and then you got Drew Holiday. So those are my point guards. Next, we'll move to shooting guard. I like Evan Fournier, Jimmy Butler, C.J. McCollum, Alan Crabb for the Nets. It seems like he's getting his minutes. It's not something too much to worry about. J.R. Smith for cheap. He's a cheap value play you could look at. And then Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown for the Celtics. The guy's been really good. His price is up a little bit. But, I mean, the way he's been playing, we can't really expect him to have a cheap price all year. And I really like the guy tomorrow. Okay, so we'll move to small forward. We'll start with Terrence Ross going against the Nets. Andrew Wiggins, Maurice Harkless, DeMar Carroll, LeBron James, and Jason Tatum, the other rookie. Oh, this guy's the other rookie for the Celtics. This guy's pretty good as well. His price has risen a little bit, but the guy's been balling, so I like him. Power forward will go to Aaron Gordon. If he plays, he's been hurt, so you got to kind of keep an eye on that tomorrow. Taj Gibson, Al Aminu for the Blazers, Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, Jay Crowder, and Al Horford. Oh, and then I also like AD as well, going against Portland. He has really good career numbers against the Blazers, so you got to throw in Anthony Davis in there. And then we'll round it off with center. The top centers for sure probably going to have to be Nikola Vucevic for the Magic. The guy's just been beasting. The only thing I don't like about him is price is skyrocketed. But, I mean, the dude's putting up the numbers. If he's going to give me, my 5 times value, even on his massive price tag, I'll take it all day. As long as we get our 5 times price tag, that's what we're looking for from our players. So at center, it's going to be Vucevic. He's going to be the top center. And then you go with Karl Anthony Towns. Nurkic for the Blazers is really good. Timothy Mozgov. Kevin Love. Aaron Baines is a cheap play for the Celtics. He's getting some minutes, and he allows you to get some of the bigger names in there. So he's a cheap value play. And then, your boy, my boy, DeMarcus Cousins. The dude is crazy, but he's a really good basketball player, and he's a really good fantasy player. And they play him besides AD. It hasn't really looked like that's going to really affect neither one of them. Both of them are really, getting their shots, and they're getting their rebounds. So it's not really something to worry about. So that's kind of where I'm at for today. So I hope this helps you. If you haven't already, please click the subscribe button below. I'll be back with tomorrow's picks a little bit later. And hey, let's make some money tonight, all right? All right, take care.